Welcome back to the Deep Dive, the Port City Fence Knowledge series. And today we are really getting into one of the biggest headaches for homeowners here in coastal North Carolina.
It's a true maze.
The confusing, layered world of fence regulations in Brunswick County.
It really is. And if you live anywhere in this huge area, from up near Leland and Wilmington down to Southport, Oak Island, you're facing a unique problem.
Right.
Brunswick County isn't simple. It's a patchwork. And the rules can literally change depending on which side of the street you live on.
Okay, so let's set the mission for this deep dive right away. We're aiming to give you a kind of shortcut guide, all based on the county's own documents, to help you navigate these layers.
And avoid surprises.
Yes, definitely avoid the surprises, because around here, a surprise usually means having to tear something expensive down.
Precisely. And the absolute number one most crucial check you have to make, this is the foundation for everything, is figuring out your jurisdiction.
You mean whether I'm in a town or not?
Exactly. We're talking about the fundamental difference between being in an unincorporated area versus being inside the limits of an incorporated town.
So, okay, if I'm in an unincorporated area, that means I'm officially in the county, but not, say, inside Charlotte or Southport city limits. Which rule book am I using?
You fall under the Brunswick County Unified Development Ordinance, the UDO.
The UDO.
Think of it as the master rule book for the county. But, and this is key, if you are inside the limits of Leland or Oak Island or Sunset Beach, those towns have their own ordinances.
And those take priority.
They completely supersede the county's rules. You have to check with the town first.
That one distinction, unincorporated versus incorporated, it seems so basic.
It seems basic.
But if you get it wrong, you're calling the wrong office, you're filling out the wrong forms, you wasted days.
Or weeks. And honestly, if you're sitting there thinking, I have no clue which one I am, you are not alone.
No shit.
That initial, crucial check finding the right rule set, that's literally what our office team, Lisa and Laura, handles every single day for our clients. It's about cutting through that chaos for you.
Okay, let's talk permits. First, big hurdle. I'm in unincorporated Brunswick County, and I want a standard 6-foot privacy fence. I heard a rumor I might not need a permit.
That rumor is, it's partially true, but it's very misleading.
Okay.
So here's the deal in unincorporated Brunswick County. Generally, the county UDO says a building permit is not required for fences of any height.
Oh, wow. That sounds great.
This sounds like a quick win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if you don't need a building permit, that doesn't mean you're totally off the hook.
There's another one waiting for me.
Of course. You will likely still need a zoning development permit. This is the one that makes sure your fence follows the rules for your specific area. Setbacks, height, what it looks like.
So I'm not proving the fence is structurally safe. I'm proving it's in the right spot and it's the right size.
You've got it. You skip the big structural permit, but you still need that mandatory check-in with the county before you even think about digging a hole.
What if I'm inside an incorporated town, like Leland? Does it all change?
Completely. For Leland or any town, the process is much tighter. They almost always require a zoning permit. They want to see the plans, the height, the location, everything.
And maybe a building permit too?
Depending on the fence, yes. If you're building, say, a tall masonry wall versus a simple wood fence, some towns will require a building permit on top of the zoning one. You just have to check.
Now, you mentioned there's one exception, one situation where a building permit is always required.
Yes. And this is non-negotiable for safety. Building permits are required for any fence that acts as a safety barrier for a swimming pool, a hot tub, or a spa.
That's a state-level thing, right? Not just local.
It's the North Carolina Residential Code. It's about preventing accidents, especially with children, so those rules are absolute. The moment you add water, the rules get much more serious.
And that's where the complexity really kicks in. I can see why people just throw their hands up.
And that's exactly why we're here. Handling those permits, making sure the drawings are what the town needs, dealing with the review process. That's the part we take off your plate.
Okay, so let's say we've got the permit. Now, where can the fence actually go? The sources point to 3 big landmines that can wreck a project. First one, property lines.
Property lines. They seem simple, but they're the source of almost every neighbor dispute.
I believe it.
Now, you can technically build a fence on a shared property line, but our recommendation, and what the sources suggest, is to build it entirely on your side of the line.
Even if my neighbor and I are best friends, why is that so important?
Because if it's all on your land, you are 100% responsible for it. The maintenance, the repairs, everything. If it's on the line, you need their permission for any work, and who knows who your neighbor will be in 10 years.
That makes sense. Keep it simple. Keep it on your land.
And talk to your neighbor before you start. Always.
All right, now for what I call the silent killer of a fence budget. Easements.
They are absolutely the biggest and most expensive mistake you can make.
So what is an easement for someone who's never dealt with one?
It's basically a strip of your land, maybe 10 or 20 feet wide, that you own but have given a utility company or the county the right to access for drainage, power lines, sewer.
And fences are a big no-no inside them.
A huge no. Fences are almost always prohibited within drainage, utility, or similar easements.
So let's play this out. I spend $10,000 on a beautiful new fence, but I accidentally build it over a utility easement. 2 years later, they need to get to a line. What happens?
They tear down your fence.
And they pay for it.
No. They can and will remove any obstruction in their easement without any compensation to you. Your fence is gone, and your money is gone.
That is brutal. So how do you find these invisible landmines?
You have to check your property survey. If you don't have one or it's old, you need to check the county's online maps, or even better, hire a surveyor. You just can't guess.
Okay, the third big trouble spot. This one's about safety. Sight triangles.
Right. If you live on a corner lot, you need to be aware of visibility triangles. These are zones at the corner where your fence height is going to be strictly limited, usually to 3 feet or less.
So cars can see each other.
So cars can see each other or see pedestrians. It's a real safety hazard if you get it wrong.
And beyond the corners, there are also general setbacks, right? You can't just build your fence right up to the street.
Correct. The road's right-of-way is almost always wider than the actual pavement. The town or county will have a rule saying your fence needs to be set back a certain number of feet from that line. Another measurement you have to get right from the start.
All right, let's shift from where the fence goes to what it's made of. Materials and appearance. What's strictly forbidden in residential areas?
Well, common sense rules here. Things like barbed wire and electrified fences are pretty much banned in residential zones. You might see them in agricultural areas, but not in a subdivision.
What about chain link? I feel like I see less of it these days.
Some towns do restrict it, yeah. Especially along streets or in front yards. It's more about aesthetics. Towns often prefer wood, vinyl, or aluminum to keep up a certain look in the neighborhood.
That brings us to the finished side rule. This feels like another potential source of neighbor drama.
It can be. The rule is pretty common, and it says the finished or good side of the fence, the smooth side, without the posts and rails showing, has to face out.
Towards my neighbor and the street.
Exact.
But wait, I'm the one paying for it. Don't I want the pretty side facing my yard?
You might think so, but the ordinance is about the community's view. It's meant to make sure your fence looks good from your neighbor's perspective and from the public street.
And just thinking about materials here on the coast, it's not just about rules, is it? It's about survival. Salt air, sandy soil, hurricanes.
That is a huge part of it, and it's where the real craftsmanship comes in. It's what Scott, our estimator and builder, focuses on.
Right.
Using the wrong screws. If you use standard galvanized fasteners on a wood fence here, the salt air will eat them up in just a few years. The fence will start falling apart.
So you have to use stainless steel or aluminum.
You have to. And the posts. Digging a post hole in this sandy soil isn't simple. You have to go much deeper and use more concrete to make sure it can stand up to a 70-mile-per-hour wind gust.
It's the difference between a fence that lasts 2 years and one that lasts 20.
That's the goal. A fence that meets the rules and stands up to our weather.
Okay, let's get into what you call the 4 extra layers of regulation, things people might miss. First up, the big one, HOAs.
The homeowner association. The HOA rules are often much, much stricter than the local ordinances.
So even if the town says a 6-foot fence is okay?
Your HOA might say it has to be a 4-foot white picket fence, and the HOA rule is the one you have to follow for your community.
So I could get a town permit, build my fence, and the HOA could still make me tear it down.
100%. The number one rule is always get written approval from your HOA first, before you do anything else.
Got it. Layer 2, CAMA.
The Coastal Area Management Act. If your property is anywhere near the water, the marsh, the ocean, a tidal creek, you could be in a CAMA-regulated zone.
What does that mean for a fence?
It means you might need another permit, a CAMA permit, especially if you're building in what they call an area of environmental concern, or AEC, like on a sand dune.
So if I'm on the ocean front, I can't just put up a privacy fence on the dune.
Definitely not. You'd be looking at specific sand fences, which are designed to be porous to build the dune up, not block a view. It's a whole other layer of environmental review.
Okay, layer 3, back to pools. We know you need a building permit, but what are the actual rules for the fence itself?
The North Carolina Residential Code is very specific. The fence has to be a minimum height, usually 4 feet. But the most critical part is the gate.
What about it?
It has to be self-closing and self-latching. The gate has to pull itself shut and lock behind you every single time. It's a non-negotiable safety feature.
And layer 4, other random state and local laws.
Right. So if you live in a historic district, for example, your design choices are going to be very limited. But the most interesting one is something called the spite fence doctrine.
A spite fence. That sounds amazing.
It's a real legal concept. You cannot build a fence just to be malicious.
You mean I can't build a 20-foot tall, solid black fence 3 inches from my neighbor's window just to annoy them?
Exactly. The law says the fence has to serve a legitimate purpose, privacy, security, not just be built out of malice to harm your neighbor's property value or view.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to keep track of. Let's try to boil it down to a final checklist for someone starting this process. What are the must-do steps?
It's basically a 7-step plan for getting it right.
Step 1, verify the regulations, the counties and your specific towns.
Step 2, check with the authorities. Call the planning department. Confirm everything. 3, review your HOA rules and get that approval in writing.
4, the big money saver. Locate your easements, get your survey out, don't build there. And 5, determine if you need a CAMA permit if you're near the coast.
Step 6 is a simple one. Communicate with your neighbors. Just talking to them can prevent so many problems.
And the final, most important step, secure all your permits before you start. Don't try to get forgiveness later. It won't work.
It will not. And speaking of getting it right, here's our reality check. Regulations here on the coast can, and they do, change faster than the tide. This is all general guidance based on the documents we have today.
We do our best to keep this info updated on our site, but you absolutely have to use the official resources links on portcityfenceofwilmington.com. That's where you'll find the final word from the town or county.
Right.
We really do try to take the headache out of all this, the regulations, digging in sandy soil, making sure it will actually survive a storm.
Don't let the paperwork stand in the way of getting the yard you want.
Ready to start with a team that handles all this for you? Call us at 910-232-5453. You can email portcityfence@hotmail.com or visit portcityfenceofwilmington.com to schedule your free estimate today.
And here's a final thought for you to consider. After you've gone through all this trouble to build a compliant fence, remember that maintenance isn't just about looks. A leaning, broken fence can actually become a code violation itself. So keeping it in good repair isn't just a choice, it's often a legal requirement too.